earlier tonight that Amazon sellers don't view themselves as competitive with each other. They view themselves as competitive with Amazon. And so I don't know if that's entirely true, but it's a great anecdote, and I like it. If you're not familiar with Payability, so we provide financing. We provide financing specifically for e-commerce sellers. So if you are looking for non-dilutive financing to help you grow, Payability is a great place to start. Can I just have everybody that's on the Payability team just stand up real quick and just give a wave? Most of us stand up. So the team. So if you want to talk to us about financing, we are here to help. We would absolutely love to talk to you. So please come and find us, and we'll have it. All right, I'm going to go through my notes here quickly. So given that this is our very first forum meeting like this in Meetup, we welcome feedback. We want to do a bunch more of these, and so we want to get better at them. I'll take the feedback right now to get better at our AV. So we'll take that note automatically. But if you have any other feedback, please do let us know. We're on, and we would welcome that feedback to make sure it's better and it's good use of your time. I also want to just call out and thank our various partners that helped us. So first of all, e-commerce Chris, who you're going to hear from in a minute. So why don't you guys stand up, the Tortilla team. Yes, give away there. Thanks everybody. The second row. Yes. Birds of a feather, yes, exactly. And Feedback Whiz, give a stand up there and away.
It's always exciting to get entrepreneurs together. It's really exciting for me to get together with Amazon sellers. But the reality is, it's a challenging world right now. There's a lot of friction. Just to name it, inflation is at an all-time high. Supply chain issues are rampant everywhere. War is broken out in Europe. This is not an easy time to build a business, but many of you are still thriving. And so what we hope to be able to do tonight is to be able to give community and a lot of just conversations that will help us to be able to thrive more, as well as to be able to hopefully give you some content that will help you thrive as well. So that's the goal, as well as just getting together, having a good time, hopefully having a few beers, having a few sandwiches, and don't forget the Mr. Tortilla chips back there. They're absolutely fantastic. Very long carbs, so I highly recommend it. With that, we have a great hour of content, so we'll jump right into it. Chris McCabe is going to be our very first speaker. So Chris, you probably all know Chris. He's everywhere. You're an Amazon seller. He, of course, worked at Amazon, and he was on the other side of these conversations for a long time, and he knows all the ins and outs of how to be able to get you unstuck and to get your listings back up if you find yourself in that spot. And so let's give a really super warm welcome to Chris, who's going to come talk to us.
Thanks everybody for coming. We're going to do more of these. Welcome your feedback. Maybe the next one will be rooftop evening somewhere. Suggestions. I'm not living in New York anymore. I live in Boston. I'm based up there. But certainly welcome your feedback, and that's what the Meetup group is for. Questions and answers and coming together like this. Competing with Amazon. That was an interesting comment. I'm going to work off of that. Because for starters, one thing we want to do with this group is make sure that we're giving you valuable content, meaningful, easy to use, maybe not always easy to use, but valuable in terms of things like we do, appeals, right? People get listings taken down, accounts are suspended. Sometimes you're attacked by a competitor. Tools that can be used the next day or the day after, as long as you're ready to use them the right way and not in some generic copy and paste way that you read about in some random article that was copied and pasted from some other random article that you found on the forums or something like that. And this will also be a group to come to positive, compliant practice. Not, I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. And I know there are some groups like that out there. We don't have to talk so much about them tonight, but that's not what this is going to be about. In the future, similar to a conference that I did last month, Seller Velocity Conference, we had some Amazonians there. I'm going to try to get some Amazonians here, people in brand registry, people on brand outreach, troubleshooting teams, maybe some policy and compliance people. We'll see. We can only invite people from Amazon if they know we're keeping it clean and there's no kind of bizarre handshake deals going on. So I won't go more into that, but just want to make sure that everyone knows all the content we share and discuss will be on the level stuff and white hat, as it's known. In terms of competing with Amazon, trouble dealing with Amazon itself, even if you have a problem with a competitor where they're not playing by the rules or they're playing a little bit dirty, you have to involve Amazon itself in that. And sometimes they don't care, or sometimes they act like they don't care, or they don't know how to care. Sometimes they do want to help you, but they don't know how to embrace you in the right way. They transfer your contact, they take your email and they send it to the wrong person, the wrong team. It goes nowhere. How often have we heard these stories? It seems like we're roughly half sellers in this room. Correct. And I'm going to interact with you guys a little bit. There's not going to be a lot to look at on the screen unless you like looking at a picture of my glasses over my logo. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear how you've gotten things stuck, because it's so easy to get stuck. And I want this group especially to be a place where you can go to fix stuff yourself as well, or at least attempt with a decent likelihood of success at fixing something yourself, not having to come to me every time or to book an hour on my calendar, because that can add up. Handle Amazon as a kind of partner where you're both in it together, but on different levels, right? Some people that I talk to who are like, why is this so unfair? Why is Amazon doing this to me? Why don't they care about, again, a competitor attacking me? Why don't they care about my listing being down? They ask for documentation. I give it to them. They won't give me my listing back. I'm losing 10 grand a day. Well, it's like they care on their own terms, right? If it's favorable to them, they care even more than that. So what does that mean for you? Strategy. When you're dealing with my former team, seller performance, you're dealing with anyone at Amazon who's evaluating your performance, taking listings down. What did I used to do all day? I read reinstatement appeals, right? Sometimes I was the one suspending the accounts. Don't tell all your friends. But I took the work seriously. Obviously, I wouldn't be consulting for 7 years after leaving if I didn't. Some of them don't take it quite as seriously. Or they're working too quickly. And management and upper management, executive level, aren't keeping an eye on these guys so much. They're not auditing the quality of their work, right? What does it mean for you? It means your strategy has to be tight from the beginning. Or it might even mean that you have to decide whether or not you're going to bring in somebody like me at the beginning, or stay the course and handle it all yourself, no matter the outcome. Some people insist on doing it themselves, and I don't begrudge them that, but make sure you have a sound strategy. And sometimes even getting me involved means there's a strategy that has to change, and there's different permutations of it as you go along, because what worked last time doesn't work as well as what you're doing this time. Keep that open-mindedness. And again, it could be your top selling ASIN at stake. It could be thousands of dollars a day or a week. And that can make a big difference. I wrote an article for Payability. It's on their blog recently about how can you, long story short, how can you focus on growth? How can you launch a new SKU? How can you focus on your ad spend, which is probably, very important? How can you focus on beating out your competition, legitimately beating them out, of course, with higher sales if you're constantly fighting like a two-front war? If you're constantly dealing with, what is Amazon trying to tell me? Why are they rejecting my appeal? How many of you guys have called account health services, for example? Talked to a couple of you at least, and gotten the runaround, or gotten vague answers, or gotten answers like it doesn't sound like they know any more than you do about what's going on, and they can see inside your account. And an appeal that's been denied, and you're like asking them, okay, I don't need you to tell me exactly what it says on my account, but I need to have some idea of what's missing in the appeal, what's incomplete, what's not acceptable, what's not viable. They love to throw these words around. Or if you were sitting in a room with self-performance, they would throw around these words. It's a non-viable appeal. It's not valid. Something's incomplete. You didn't give us enough information, right? Insufficient information. They love throwing this out at people. The language has gotten more and more generic in the messaging every year since I left the company. Why is that? They're holding their cards pretty close to the vest. They don't want you to pin them down for making mistakes, for reviewing your appeal and rejecting it with no cause, with no justification. So it's going to be on you. You have to have a thick skin and call account help. And if they're not doing it for you, you go somewhere else and say, I went to account help. They didn't help me. They couldn't tell me anything. But it's up to you to find out why it's been denied. If you have to escalate it, you're going to have to say, we revised this once or twice, maybe 3 times. Talk to account help. They gave us some pointers on how we could revise it. We did that. It was rejected again. Apparently, there's no account annotations. I'm paraphrasing here, of course. There's no account annotations that we were able to find when we called in to determine why our appeals were rejected. Now we have to escalate it. You're going to be throwing all these facts at them. You might even get an email that you're sending to an executive. Look at Dave Clark, right? They're global head of what? Worldwide consumer and logistics. They changed the title a couple of times. He reports directly, at least until July 1st, he reports directly to Andy Jassy. I see sellers writing him emails trying to escalate these things who haven't even called account help yet. So there's no strategy in place, but you're going to the higher echelons of the company, the highest levels of the company. Have the documentation that they want in hand. Have your ducks in a row. Am I losing, in terms of strategy or escalations, am I losing anyone in terms of you've tried this and you were winging it? Has anyone tried to email any of these like executives, managers? And a lot of them are like public names. Did anyone read the article about they're trying to get you to write to your senator to defeat the new bill, the new legislation? Some of you heard about that. And a lot of the article comments and a lot of comments in the forums were, Okay, we're not going to help Amazon with this until they help us with our account suspension or our listing or brand registry problems. Because opening tickets with seller support or with low-level brand registry teams, you're just condemning yourself to more of the copy and paste. If you're getting hit with copy and paste answers that are just generic content that don't help you reinstate whatever's been suspended, write to some of these guys. Tell them, I've been to the channels you told me to go to. It didn't work. Explain how it didn't work. Explain how many times you went there. Give them a list of dates. Do not send them an email that's 3 pages long, but give a bulleted list of, on this date, we sent it to this person, then to their direct report, their manager, then to the VP who owns that group, who's responsible for managing them. Got the same message. You got silence back. Obviously, it wasn't solved. Got generic copy and paste denials back. Called account help. Or how many people here have account managers? How many of you are paying the monthly fee for an account manager? 1, 2. Okay. Interesting. Because one of the things that came up at our conference in Oregon last month, a lot of sellers, a lot of brands, that's their first contact with an internal Amazon employee, except for seller support. But the first relationship with an Amazon employee where you're with them month in, month out, regular calls. A lot of people ditch the account management program. It's a pay-in program. If you're paying for that service, you probably want to just tell them that something's going wrong and have them mostly solve the problem for you, right?
I'm not going to help you. That's not a problem.
They either punt and say that's not part of their purview. And this was something the brand outreach guys were mentioning at the conference that they came to that we did in Oregon last month. What are the problems that you have with your account manager? Well, the problem is they're not solving the problem with us or for us. They're sending us back to the same channels that weren't working before. But what does that mean? It means it's harder for them to do outreach to get more people to get an account manager, because way more sellers would pay for an account manager if it worked way more often. But also people are ditching the program because they don't want to pay for a monthly account manager if they're just going to open another ticket for you with a different team, and then that ticket gets transferred around. Amazon's in a lot of ways like the IRS, right? Giant bureaucracy. Give you a different phone number to call, a different queue to email. Don't talk to seller support, talk to account help. But there's a lot of this going. We've decided, what we've figured out after years of doing appeals and helping people with escalations is you have to get them to be accountable, get them interested in accountability. When you start saying there are people on teams that report directly to you or who report to somebody who's one of your direct reports that we've complained to about this already and nothing happened. What are you willing to do about it? It's been this many days, 21 days. Keep mentioning the numbers. Throw facts at them. Don't throw emotion at them. We understand that frustration breeds emotion, and people like me totally are with you and on board with that, and we get it. But me holding your hand is different than going to an executive at Amazon who could potentially fix your problem, or a manager or a senior VP, whoever it might be, even the social media team. I'm sure some of you have sent tweets that have been answered. Some of those are reviewed at a high level. But the tweet had certain kinds of info in it. Same as an escalation email or appeal. Facts. How many days has it been? How much money have you lost? Were you about to launch a new SKU, but you put that off? And that new SKU would have projected 20,000 in sales a week. But you didn't do it because your current listing is down and they wouldn't tell you why your appeal wasn't sufficient. I'm not saying every appeal that every seller sends is perfect and should be accepted. I understand why Amazon pushes back and asks for more information, but they're never clear about what information it is that's not acceptable or that's missing. And they do it for their own kind of selfish reasons, right? Again, they don't want you to pin them down about what they said was missing, just in case they're wrong about it, and just in case you've already presented them with something, you're right? Just in case you've already given them the information they wanted and they just neglected to read it. Things are kicked around like ping pong balls inside the company. But unfortunately, at this, June 2022, in this date and age, it's the seller and the brand owner's responsibility to create the strategy and to keep a thick skin, keep a cool head when they're pushing back on you for no reason, and to figure out where you go to next when you're stuck. Because it's going to be up to you to get yourself unstuck. You can't count on them eventually reading it the right way, eventually handling it the correct way, handing it to the right manager, the right investigator. Sometimes that does happen by happenstance on its own. But how many people here have escalated to different VPs that they've read about on LinkedIn or at the forums? How many of you have had stuck appeals? At least some of you. Are any of you willing to share? Did you send direct emails? Did you do social media?
I know people that had success with Twitter, but it's about how many fish you can get over the day. Just
Right.
keep trying, keep revising, keep emailing. Eventually, if you can prove your case, you'll get somebody that can help you out.
Right. But you persevered.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating and almost hopeless, but eventually.
If there's enough money at stake, most people keep going. But what I would encourage you to do is don't just look for a different place to send the same thing over and over. If you spam them, we love calling this approach spam a lot. If you keep spamming them, they're going to see that somebody else has read something that's exactly like what you just sent. And their first instinct, again, whether it's an investigator level or a manager level or a VP level, their first instinct will be, I don't have to read this. I don't have to do anything. Somebody else already looked at this exact same thing. If you're customizing, sending unique content, which again, the facts are changing. The numbers are changing over time. If it's 28 days, not 21, say it's been a month. If you've lost 100 grand instead of 50 grand, make sure you're not sending the same email that says 50,000. Now you've lost low six figures. If this continues, this current trend, you'll lose $250,000 in potential sales. That's supposed to be meaningful for people at the top of the food chain who are supposed to be managing the marketplace and bringing in more revenue, and maybe not keeping every seller happy, but also keeping people in their own banks happy by not drowning in constant appeals over and over. They have to manage SLAs. Yeah.
Do you think it'd be more impactful to equate it to their fees in a dollar amount instead of our fees?
Not their fees so much, no. Because the FBA fees went up 5%.
Yeah, what they're taking.
I usually say, feel free to sellers who ask, feel free to mention that in a sentence, but don't make that the emphasis or the focus of the appeal. Just like you wouldn't make a motion like how long you've been selling. We've been selling for 17 years. We've never had anything like this before. It's okay to say you've been selling for 17 years or for 7 years, but don't make that a paragraph. Make that a sentence. Focus on how much money you've lost, especially if you're getting attacked by a competitor who might be selling like a counterfeit version of your product. Of course, if it's counterfeit, you're dwelling on the fact, you can't dwell on the fact that there's a counterfeit version of your products being sold, so your intellectual property is being violated, and those are easy ones. But if you could have sold 90,000 in inventory, but you didn't because they're not reading your field and they're sending the same generic response over and over, that's something they're supposed to care about. Because if you go to any Amazon sponsored events and there are executives there, they're there to hear seller pain points, but also to hear about a process breakdown. When I've spoken to executives I've met at some of these events, people I didn't know while I worked at Amazon, I bring this up. I'll say you're data-driven, data-centric company, and you're process-oriented. So I can give you lots of evidence that the seller performance process, of course, that's my former team, so I have a pretty good sense of what's broken or not on the appeals process, reinstatement strategy. I can hit them up for questions like, what are you doing to improve process like auditing investigator quality? If you pin them down on that stuff, you'll have the sense that they don't have great answers because they're going in circles a little bit on the inside, just like you feel like you are in the outside. I wanted to open it up at this point for questions. That was my initial speech. Yeah.
Do you really think they care?
I think you have to make them care by saying what you're going to do next at the end of the appeal. If you say, I've already been to the people who report to you, they haven't helped me. I've laid out my case. I haven't gotten better information from Amazon about what's missing. I've had to escalate to you. If you don't help me with this in a timely manner, I'm going to, which if you're climbing that rungs on the ladder, you're going to who they report to. Eventually you run out of rungs, but at that point you're at the CEO level. In most cases, you don't have to go that high to resolve stuff. But what makes it meaningful for them is, I'm going to send this to your boss if you don't help me with it, honestly. And that's the way a lot of the world works too. Yeah. How am I doing? Do we have time for a couple more questions?
Yeah, Chris, we got time for one or two more.
No idea what time.
Okay. Yeah,
Obviously, I'll be around for other questions. Yeah.
In the performance rule, it went from we may not respond further to now you have to submit the appeal through a button. Is the email thing, is the email method still alive? Are they transitioning away from it towards a button so that they actually don't respond further? Where do you see their responsiveness trending?
emailing to email queues or to an actual person?
Through an actual person, either seller dash performance or to work your way up to the VP level and then Jeff.
Yeah, and I don't recommend that people do the Jeff at Amazon email because that, in theory, takes you to executive seller relations, which should be a viable destination for these things. But that's become a watered down path. Yeah, they're out of their selfish interest, they want to push everything through the button because they can manage it better and they have more visibility into it. But to get back to what you said a second ago, we may not respond further. It's called final wording. Back in the day when I was there, that's something we would only send if we got the same appeal 7 times in a row and we had already denied it 6 times and nothing was changing. That's the way it's supposed to be used. They put that at the bottom of almost every message now. And that's to buy them, like, so that they won't be called out on the carpet for their silence. That's what it's used for now. So added that sentence as a kind of disqualifier to the bottom. You should be able to generate a response. Obviously, there's a percentage of cases where they say it and they will mean it because you have been final worded and they do not intend to respond to you. But that should only apply in cases where you've had a good chance to appeal and you fumbled it, right?
But
I mean, don't send them the same thing over and over because that makes them more likely to send it sooner in the process.
now the implementation of the button and then them removing a button, does that mean what happened really
Yeah.
final worded?
You're emailing, whether the button's there or not, then you're emailing from the primary from there on out. But if you're final worded through the button, through the centrally appeal button, and they do stop responding, then you're email only anyway. And it sucks because you don't have visibility
Right.
into was this read yet or not. It might, if you have read receipts in the emails, it might have been opened, but you don't know if it's been transferred to a VP. They might bounce it to one of the people they delegated to a manager. So it might have been read, but not really reviewed yet. So you can't really tell that way either. And I know it's an unsatisfying answer to say your email only, you have to email appeals from the primary at that point. But that's the ad hoc universe we're living in with now. If you have a specific example, we can talk about it after.
Sure.
Anything else? One last? No?
No, we're just about at time. Just as a reminder to everyone, we will be going to the Francis Tavern, which is literally right out of this building and 2 blocks down the road. We'll happily go as a group, but Chris will be around for Q&A after. So let's give it up for Chris. This next session here, we've got a very special guest who came in all the way from San Fernando, California. Anthony Alcazar and his brother Ron Alcazar are the 2 co-founders of Mr. Over the last 18 months, they have quickly risen to the #1 tortilla seller on Amazon, and that is globally, and they have amassed being a as well. So without further ado, we've got our co-founder and CEO Keith Smith and Anthony Alcazar of Mr. Tortilla for a fireside chat.
Anthony and Ron, we haven't met in person before. We met over video. Like most relationships start in this day and age. That's how ours started as well. So thanks for coming, guys. We really appreciate it. So we're gonna ask some questions. I ask some questions. We're gonna do a fireside chat without the fire, just this side. And so if you have questions, though, I'd welcome folks to jump in. I'll ask a couple to get us started, but please do jump in. I can learn a lot from these guys. So first off, an easy one for you. How often do you get to New York, and how's this trip been for you so far? How's it going?
We love everything we catch on the East Coast, especially in New York. We love it. We started the distribution here, so it was great, but fun.
Great. By the way, how's everybody in the back? Can you hear? Well? All
I
right.
think we have to raise it a
They're
little.
gonna make you yell. So, I'm screaming at you right here next to you. It's just for everybody in the back. So, I don't usually scream at people when I talk to them. So, you guys are both, in my experience, both the videos that I've seen and our chat that we had, you're great storytellers. So, we don't want the corporate clean version of this. We want the actual backstory. Like, how did you get started and why Tortillas?
Okay, I'm gonna start off by the real story. What happened one night we went out to get tacos, right?
Project, give them really loud. Yeah.
Sure. One night we went out to get tacos, right? Just like you guys have halal trucks here, we have tacos in every corner of Los Angeles. But the backstory was that is that I'm a gamer. I'm not really a gamer, but when it comes down to those fighting games, Like I just something happened, we possessed or something, like we go at it. So we went at it for hours. Like, hey, you had enough? Let's go. So then we played for hours and then we get some tacos. And when we got some tacos, we said, you know what? Eating tacos is great, but right after you eat them, you go ahead and put the taco pills because they're high in carbs and calories. That's when I had thinking over me. I said, what if we can make tacos healthy? What if we can make a tortilla that's low in carbs and low in calories? That would change the game because then you can have tacos and eat healthy. Eat protein and the veggies. The problem with tortilla, that's what the idea was. And for many of you guys, when you guys start a business, like at least when we did, we were very naive. We thought, hey, I want to get into business. Let's make a product, let's get off the shelf, and let's do it. What we didn't realize is how difficult it would be, how the big guys dominate the market, and they don't want competition, right? And it took us, wow, we're gonna tell you 10 years in a few minutes, right? Let's take it from there. Yeah. Okay, like we got tortilla, we want to get on the shelf, we're knocking on doors. For years, like back to back, for whatever reason, all along the way, like so like that's where you want our shelves and somewhere up to you to know we want to refine. We're not gonna do it. But if you finally got on the shelf, you get on the shelf, that's at the bottom for sure. Bottom placement, you don't really get much visibility. Plus, there's like merchandise there every day. That's your stuff. It's hard to grow. It's hard to do this. And really, we're not there every single day policing our product on the shelves. And we can't keep this way. We need to pivot. So we're like, okay, let's get one big, huge account. That's the stupid that we work with, right? Great. We visited every military base in California, pretty much to get this military contract for serving the troops. Finally we're doing great. We made it. That's the thing too, is like when you start your own business, there's lots of moments like where you make it. And all right, sometimes it's not the full story. So we're there, but then all of a sudden the big guy comes again, and he's got billions of dollars of rebates to the distributor, and they see us go. All of a sudden, one day to the next, they just cut the contract. So we're like, okay, we're about to go out of business. Let's pivot again. Let's do.
We've got lots of different restaurants. We've got hotels where we're doing great, getting our name out there, and then the pandemic happens, and all food service business shutting down. So okay, I'll do it again. I think I love telling this part of the story. So pandemic happens. We're about to go out of business. We got to pivot. We're like, shoot, we have all these employees. What are we gonna do? So we said maybe now that there are empty shelves, we can sell our product back to retail. Even during the pandemic, when there were empty shelves, they did not allow us to sell our food. Oh my God, help me, what are we gonna do? And then Ron comes to me, Anthony, Amazon. I look at him like, are you a fool making money on the internet? That's not real, that's a folktale. What are you talking about? He goes, no, trust me, I shop on Amazon. And on Amazon, consumer choices was number one. So we learned, okay, let's do it. So we created a new business model from scratch of selling tortillas on the internet that was not existent before. We learned digital marketing and social media on the fly, and we grew to be number one on Amazon. But before we got there, right, when we were growing, there was a big problem. How do you grow without the capital? Guys, no matter what anyone tells you, you guys need capital to grow. It's lies if they're telling you don't need capital to grow. So as we were starting to grow a little bit, I was getting worried. I was like, shoot, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And then Ron and another manager in the office, they head out to a conference, a white label, and they come back with, hey, I met some guys named Payability. So these guys, so Payability, what they do is they front you the money that you sell on Amazon so you're able to grow. You don't have to use the money, but it's there. And honestly, without Payability, we could have not scaled Amazon. So thank you to you, and thank you to Payability for having us out here today.
That's an awesome story. I especially like the last part of it, you might imagine. But I got to ask, who's the big brother? Who's the little
Big
brother?
brother.
Big brother, little brother.
Yeah.
I was a little brother as well. So kudos to you for being right. Though, by the way, I got to say, like Amazon being last choice, but obviously a great choice, and it's been good for you guys. So you guys are an 8-figure seller. You grew a ton, especially through pandemic, and in the face of supply chain issues and inflation and all these other challenges. Like, what's the secret? What can you share with us that helped you guys grow through all of that chaos?
Just take it one day at a time. And you know what? When it comes down to making those decisions, talk to every member of your team, because a lot of times the answers came from someone on the team that you didn't expect. Once you talk it over with your team, we have a great team, and we were able to just deal with what came at us. For example, the prices of raw goods more than double, right? The availability too. So it'd be usually you'd manufacture for just-in-time inventory. That's what we used to do back in the day. We have a month's worth, that's fine, but then all of a sudden you have an ingredient that go out of stock for quarters at a time.
You have to go on
Yeah.
the black market to get ingredients, which is like going down to. Does anyone have whole wheat flour? But
We're like we're in Los Angeles. And I'm like trucking over ingredients from here. New York,
Yeah.
just like on the street. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. And for what it's worth, by the way, the one carb tortilla is amazing. So my son is a type 1 diabetic, and when we get into the taco eating just feast like you guys described, he's constantly having to either take a shot or just on his pump he's adding more carbs. One carb tortilla is a game changer. So it really is a unique and fantastic product.
Oh,
So-
thank you, Keith. Thank you.
and it tastes fantastic as well.
Oh.
Just to double click on the payability topic a little bit more in terms of how you use it. You use our instant access product, which is daily payments for yesterday's sales, which we tend to think of as a permanent increase in your networking capital. But how do you guys think about it, and how do you actually at a pragmatic level use daily payments to change your business?
Okay, I'll explain that with guys. To make money, the one thing, what do you need to make money? You need money. There's no other way around it, right? And so, for example, what we do is, let's say I'm paying, money isn't free, right? So whatever it costs us, we make a lot more money by having the capital up front. Because, for example, we're buying ingredients, so instead of buying a couple pallets, we'll buy a truckload because we have that extra capital. And with that, the money that we're saving by buying bigger volume, negotiating that price and paying COD for it, we're saving a lot of money. That's one. Two is not just the ingredients, it's the packaging, the marketing, the digital marketing is key for a new brand, especially if you're selling on Amazon. So you can use that money to sell more, and it's just a great way for us to use it.
Yeah, I think like mechanically, there's like a weird, difficult to scale on Amazon because the more you scale up, when you reach like a new level of sales on Amazon, they tend to withhold that income as like reserve for a while. And so whatever tools you can get as part of that ascent, that helps, because if you're selling, like the more you sell, like the more money they withhold at the beginning. Eventually they'll let it go as a reserve, but yeah, that help, that instant access really helps you to be able to, continue growing without having to worry.
Especially because you have to send in product to Amazon. Like the best thing about Amazon is the Amazon FBA piece. Thanks to the Amazon FBA, they're able to put it in Prime, and then people get it to the product Prime. And the Prime is a game changer. If you're thinking, hey, let me do it fulfilled by merchant, it's great, but it's nowhere near. Prime is what really will help you grow because people want the product fast. And so for that, you have to send a lot of product in, which means a lot more money of inventory and whatnot.
Yeah. And so on that topic, in terms of just like other pragmatic things that you would recommend, just maybe practical advice that you would give, and especially of selling, like what other pragmatic advice would you give?
You guys have to create a brand, right? Because if you don't create a brand, what happens is competitors come, right? It's gonna happen. So if you do the right social media marketing, the right brand, and right customer service, and create a brand, then it doesn't matter who comes in, because your customer will be loyal to you and the brand, right? Like, for example, I don't know, but growing up, I loved Nikes. And just Reeboks, Adidas. I liked Adidas, but there's nothing like Nike for me. And the same thing with these customers. Whatever you're selling, if you create a brand, the customers will be loyal to the brand. And that experience, as long as you know great customer service and great branding, and that really helps.
That's great. That's great. So I'm gonna ask another question, then I'll throw it to the audience for more questions. So if you have questions, think about them now. What other tools, products, services, etc., do you use that are Amazon service providers that are helpful to you guys?
Yeah, the bid automations always helped, like especially when we're running our campaigns, trying to figure out what else. Like,
Selling on Canada was like seamless.
yeah, we're able to just when we expanded to Canada, it was actually like relatively simple, the tools that they had as far as importing and exporting goes. But there's not much third party really that's needed on, like we just the finance part and the marketing part really get technology partners with that. But aside from that, not much else.
See, I'll tell you what the biggest problem was for us. The biggest problem for us was, how can we get in the consumer's hands? We have a great product, but we don't have the distribution. Because so if someone wants it in New York, someone wants it in Texas, someone wants it in Miami, we can't do it. But see, by you selling on Amazon, you're leveraging the distribution, because everyone buys on Amazon. Click of a button, they get it next day. So that Amazon Prime is very important.
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, well, what's been helpful too is there's a lot of things that get lost in transit units, especially if you're sending a lot of product. Amazon, like they tout their warehouse stuff. It's not perfect. Lots of stuff get lost. It's always important to have somebody going and retaining that revenue, or kind of getting that lost money back. And yeah, like Gatina's been a good partner with us, and also and expanding into other markets like Canada, like ping pong's also been good. Yeah.
Good. That's good. Yes, questions? jump in.
I heard you say that you guys learned marketing on the fly, social media on the fly. How did you solve the finding of a good agency and a good PPC partner? Because clearly that's critical for Amazon. Did you get lucky the first time?
No, it's trial and error. It's definitely
Okay.
trial and error.
It's difficult because with a lot of technology providers and different partnerships like this, they tend to want to put you into a year-long contract, but you really need to make sure that they're good first.
Don't sign it. Don't
Yeah.
sign it. If you can stay away from a year contract, don't sign it. Just because what happens is, this is the advice I'll give you, right? You need to see results within a week or two. If you don't see results within a week or two, what's the point of waiting? That's what we do. Hey, if I don't see something in 1 or 2 weeks, that's it. You're out, cut, bye. Someone next. Because if not, then you're gonna wait 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and then sorry, it didn't work out. What am I gonna do with my 4 months? Like, I didn't sell. So if you don't see the trend going upwards, cut it. And we learned the hard way with that 1 year contract. I'm not gonna name names, but we signed a 1 year contract. Everyone promises you the world in e-commerce. It's we'll do this, we'll do that, but really until you're in the situation, you realize that doesn't work out. So after we signed a 1 year contract with someone, and we realized that it's not going to work out. We said, we don't sign a 1 year contract. We don't sign any contract more than a month and a quarter, maybe.
And it is really important to find a team that matches well with yours, because you can find people that are good at what they do, but if they don't really communicate with your team, or kind of if there's not that synergy, then they might not work out.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
there's lots of, for instance, you can have somebody who's great, like servicing your account. Oh, guess what? Like I got a new job somewhere else. And then there's lots of different things that can happen. So it's always good to make sure you're protected as best as possible.
Yeah. The one advice I'll say is that no one's going to care about your product and your business the way you do, right? So you need to be on top. Doesn't matter how great they are, you need to tell them, hey, do this, or you know what, my product doesn't sell that. My product, you have to be on top of it, because if you just want to pass it over and just hang idle while they do the work, they're not going to do it. Trust me, we've tried with everyone. Crack the whip. Hey guys, are you guys working? What are you doing? Are you? My sales aren't growing. They're stagnant. They're low. They're going down. Because if you don't, at the beginning, that's what we did. We said, to these marketing agencies, we're paying them a premium amount of dollars to manage this, and things should go well. But then you see idle and that your account just, but once you're on top of them and asking them to do things and whatnot, you finally see the traction go upwards. Because if you don't, then they don't care.
Yeah, and another thing too is just there's insights that you'd have. Pretty much everybody starts the same. Okay, I don't know much about this account. Let's run some campaigns. Let's learn. Let's find out what's going on here, and then develop a strategy. But if you have a lot of those insights, you can cut that process short by giving them weight.
I find a lot of value is created by entrepreneurial impatience. And Chris was talking about it here as well. It's sitting around and waiting for other people to do stuff that's going to benefit your business usually doesn't work out well. And entrepreneurs are generally pretty impatient. So I think that's a positive thing many times. Yeah, question.
Can you talk about the thought process and just going into a decision to pivot, like what the environment looked like around you, how you came to that decision?
Sure. For us, at least, we pivoted 3 times, or more than 3, but just the 3 we talked about here. Every time it was, for example, when we're in the retail spot, this isn't working out. I can't fight this giant guy. It's not going to work. So I have to find something that works for me. So we pivot to this major account, and then when we're at the major account, things are going well. We finally pay the bills. We're growing a little bit. We're like, thank you, God, finally. And then this guy again comes and you get bullied out, essentially. So pivoted back to the food service, and then when the pandemic happened, that was like life or death. That was like, hey, we're gonna close our doors because we don't know where to go, we don't know where to sell, and it was just during that time during the pandemic, it was for me at least, it was like a reach to sell tortillas on the internet, to sell online. I didn't see it feasible, but I had faith that God wouldn't have brought me through this journey of 10 or 8 years at the time of struggling and whatnot. For maybe let's give it a shot. And when we tried it and we saw immediate success, we're like, okay, we found something here. Now let's throttle it. And I saw that even believe it or not, even the big guys, they try to mess with this on the e-commerce side too. But with Amazon and the tools they have, they really can't. They can't, because you have so many tools to create a brand that the customer chooses what they want on Amazon and on e-commerce, and that's really was valuable for us.
And oftentimes, you could find that market space being like, this should exist, but it doesn't, and then you figure out why not. And just depending on what you find when you're trying to figure out why isn't it here yet, that you might find a wonderful opportunity, or you might find that for whatever reason, it's another important thing. You need to build your product around the model and not the other way around. So depending on how you sell your product, there's a way you can sell it to maximize. You have to worry about shipping, marketing spend. There's got to be that little room. So, for instance, if you sell 2 instead of 1, you might have that space to market it, and that's the way you got to sell it online. Yeah.
It's a good insight. It's a really good insight. Yeah. Yes, right here, please.
What percentage of sales are on Amazon now? Do you still sell?
We just started doing retail. Amazon is probably 30% of our business. About 30. Yeah, we sell more on our website than we do on Amazon. Yeah, Shopify. Yeah.
And that's how we started on our own site and kind of expanding out to Amazon. Yeah.
Great. Good question. Yeah.
How do you leverage your Amazon audience, if at all, to go either towards Shopify?
I think it's just how we manage our platforms. At least on Amazon, I tend to think of that as an enclosed system. I don't know how, like, it's kind of, Amazon doesn't allow you insight into where the customers are going, how it's going, but you do have, a certain budget that you're allocating to Amazon, catching Amazon traffic. So normally that stays inside. And as far as our external traffic that goes to our own site, we do mention that we're on number 1 on Amazon. Always leave that open because some shoppers' habits, we notice people come to our site, they leave, and then they might buy on Amazon. So it really, you gotta make sure you can capture them and point them in the right direction.
Are you trying to purposefully drive external traffic into Amazon at this point in time, or is that, or you try to drive everything to your Shopify site?
We do both. To us, Amazon's great for us. So either they buy on Amazon or our site, either one is great for us as long as they're buying our product. We just want to facilitate for the customer where they can find our product. But one thing we do is that we offer flavors on our website that we don't offer on Amazon. So if they want, to try something new, they go on the website.
Yeah, that's interesting. Great. Yeah.
The shelf life for your product is this more a food product, and if it is expires or something, how do you handle the inventory?
Yeah. See, this is tricky. On food, it's very tricky because unlike other products, you can send it in and wait. But with food, we have a 4-month shelf life on our product. And for us, at least, we had to time it, right? Because the velocity of how fast we're selling, the amount of product that we're sending. At the beginning, you have to go slow because if you send too much product, then it can, go bad. But yeah, as you start to scale and it starts to move, you time it. So for us, we have a very good system making sure that the product is, flying out of the FBA warehouses.
And it's kind of, the system within Amazon probably want you to send a lot. But you have to keep in mind that we tend to run our inventory lean because it's food, just because we have to make sure that product moves. Because it's hard. There's not really a way to track which inventory is oldest in Amazon. That isn't built in yet or not into their warehousing system. So you really just have to almost let it run out and then have it set up where if it does run out, it goes to you directly. And then as you send more inventory, then it goes back.
That's interesting.
Don't they request the expiration date before you send it in FBA?
Yes, they do. So on their way, they have a way to move it out of inventory when it's expired, but they don't have a way to find find the ones that are expiring soonest and send those. And it's it's automated, so it's hard. But you might find all of a sudden there was a whole entire island of your product that just hadn't never left, and all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of expired out of the blue.
And that's why it's a great partner. Yakita's a great partner because then all of a sudden they'll send you an email saying, "Hey, we recovered your money." You're like, "Oh, thank you." Right?
Good job, Yakita.
You had a question?
Sorry, I promised right over here real quick. Yes, go for it.
Appreciate it. First of all, guys, congrats on all the success.
Oh, thank you.
You only see continued success going on. Second, being limited, being a reality, Payability, not necessarily this year. Most sellers dealing with limited resources, where do you feel, like in terms of marketplaces, where do you feel like you're focusing most of your resources now? Is it Amazon? I know a lot of people are getting into Walmart.com, is it a Shopify store? Where do you feel like the efforts are being focused on the most?
Probably the most of the half and half. Because it's always valuable to have your own customers and be able to dictate. But it just depends because you might find some efficiency and it fluctuates. So at the beginning, we started at the beginning of the pandemic. So there was so much traffic on all of the platforms that just the advertising was a lot more efficient than it is now. We grew our website and focused only on getting those sales. But as your iOS 14 comes out and you have new challenges, you might have to, at this point, I'd say it's tiny. Like Amazon campaigns are one of our more profitable advertising channels, but at a smaller scale, the other ones are also efficient. So it really depends. That has to fluctuate with time, and you really have to watch it. It's like the stock market goes up and down all the time.
Hey, we got time for 2 more quick questions. So yes, please.
What operations are you doing internally with your employees and what do you outsource?
So we're a full vertical. We have a manufacturing facility, a factory. We produce the product in-house. The only thing I do, we really outsource is some of the digital
Marketing
marketing
and some digital marketing for sure.
We did have to figure out a way to fulfill orders and bring all of that operation in house. For us, because we only have a few SKUs and we only focused on like a few flavors and configurations, we do that in line. So we have 10,000 of this one Amazon SKU. Go like our team puts it together and ships it out. Versus if we had a whole bunch of SKUs, the operation might be different. But we are able to bring that in house because it's simple.
It's good insight. Yes, last question, please.
Has Amazon reached out to you with the Buy with Prime, and have you guys used it yet or no? On your website.
Oh, on our website? No, they haven't reached out to us about it. I don't know if you're interested, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it, but
That's
pretty
great.
cool.
We do use the Amazon Pay though.
Yeah, they have a new thing where it's you check out directly through your Prime account, and it ships directly from Amazon to your end user directly through your website.
Oh, that's
Presumably you have to use checkout with Amazon in order to make it
Yeah,
work then?
exactly.
That's brilliant.
But it goes right through their fulfillment, and then they charge you a transaction.
So that might be.
But the customer information is yours, though, not theirs.
Yeah, that's great.
And you'll find that it really depends on the case because there's some ways where like Amazon plus their fee and everything else that they take out is less than what we would pay
It's
for
still less than
shipping.
you pay to ship it.
Yeah, exactly. So in that situation, it'll work out. Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys coming.
Jack is still doing the parking validation, so if you want to throw in a couple more questions.
Perfect. We bought ourselves some more time, so yes, go ahead.
Can you talk about your like experience before Mr. Tortilla and how that led up to creating the business?
Sure. So Ron was right out of college. So literally, like, so he was at.
We were setting up Mr. Tortilla my last year. So I studied astrophysics in school, and by last year I just realized it wasn't really for me. And I was in it for 4 years, and oh no.
I told him since day one, I was like, astrophysics for what? He's like, huh? But
It's my favorite subject.
but yeah.
Elizabeth, you had a question?
Just impressed that Mr. Tortilla was available for you to.
I know.
Can I tell you guys a story of Mr. Tortilla?
Yes,
The name. What happened? I remember this. So we had a placeholder name, which was LA Tortilla. We knew that wasn't going to be the name, but we just wanted to get started. And so one weekend, my parents. It was going to be a family trip to Santa Barbara, but I just realized, I had to go. I had a previous engagement. It was a friend's party, so I didn't end up going. But my brother and my father and my mother went to Santa Barbara. And when they checked into the hotel, it was packed. There's so many people. They're just like overwhelmed. So you know what? Everyone, leave your credit cards here in order, and we're just gonna take them one at a time. And so my dad left his company card that he had made because he wanted to. I want to have the company card with the new company name on it. Put it there. And so we're just waiting for our turn. And when they got our card, I guess they just made it. They're like, Mr. Tortilla. Yeah. But this is the interesting part. So they didn't hit them. They come back, and I remember being like, it was a rager. So I remember being like, they're like drinking some water, and then they're like, hey, guess what? This is what happened. We were checking in, and and then as soon as they say the Mr. Tortilla, I go, that's the name. Check it right now. And we checked it, and it was available, and we trademarked it, and we're like, oh, a godsend. Everything, guys, everything that we've done, and it's a miracle, and it's only because God has blessed us. Because it's not us, it's just a miracle from God.
I hope the clerk who said that gets like
hummus, or what is it, chickpea base, because it helps with estrogen and stuff like that.
Me and my brother really started. My father, he was in the food industry, in the manufacturing side. So when we started, we're like, look, we have to bring in someone to help us on the manufacturing side, making the product. And that's who do we know? Well, Dad, of course. And we approached my father, and at the time he was like, I'll come help you guys, but on one condition. And what's the condition? I'm gonna be the boss, right? So he's like, we're like, yeah. So he came in at the beginning. He was hands-on, helped us with the manufacturing process, and taught us all the ins and outs. And now he sits on our board. And
the earlier time before our e-commerce success, like I always look at because we were just struggling in obscurity. Nobody knew who we were, and we were just grinding. But by the end of it, we built our own tortilla facility. We were producing it ourselves. To be where we are right now, where we can control our production and really just make our product unique. Yeah, so it's all over.
That's great. That's great. One more question, and we'll wrap. Anybody else? Yes.
Have you or would you ever consider a 1P relationship?
Ooh.
Selling direct wholesale to Amazon?
Really interesting question.
That's something we're definitely like looking into. Just right now, the way we have the market set up, 3P is working out for us for this particular product, but there might be other lines, other products that we introduce that would work better as a. It would just honestly, like, if you're looking to do volume and like less in the marketing, then that's a great relationship to have. But we're like a lot of it's led by marketing on our side, so that's why we want to maintain that. Yeah.
Even Costco.
Yeah. There's lots of opportunity there.
Yeah, it comes full circle. You're going to be going back trying to get shelf space all over.
Yeah. So it's, we're very thankful for that. It was almost like a dream come true. Like when a distributor reached out in New York, hey, we really want to put your product in New York. We're like, oh, for us, it's almost like a dream. California, Texas, New York, and Miami.
Taking over the country. I love it. Guys, congratulations on the
Thank you,
success.
thank you.
Thank you very much for Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Quick announcements. Yeah, so Francis Tavern. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to come over here. Francis Tavern is at 54 Pearl. Some of you know it, maybe. I think we're going to slowly gravitate over there. Jack's still working on the parking validation. He'll be back in a second for people who need that. We'll be in touch soon through the Meetup group in terms of the next event. Like I said, hopefully a rooftop bar. Venue of some sort. Anyone has any suggestions, let us know. Thanks for coming.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.